Hello and welcome to our first groove along. This is very much the first time we've recorded this and haven't had to restart. Today we're listening to Giles Corey by Giles Corey, submitted by Dom, and we're going to have Dom share his thoughts on why he loves this album.
Sure. Hey everybody, Dom, everybody's favorite minister of death and destruction. I love this album. It's my 10 out of 10. Probably my favorite album. It definitely has some great bits in it. I don't dislike any of the songs. But what I really like about Giles Corey is that it kind of takes all my favorite bits of all my other favorite genres and kind of jams them all together. So I really like sad, melancholy orchestral music, but that's also really boisterous and loud. Like Dark Souls, for example. The Soulsborne people do a really great job with that, and it kind of takes the really best parts of that and puts it into this album, which is kind of interesting. And then I like folk a lot. In the airplane over the sea was kind of a big thing for me. I really like what's that bluegrass a band Devil Makes Three. Uh, and then I really like drone and industrial music and really heavy bass, which and percussion, which Giles Corey gives me. And uh yeah, so I really hope y'all enjoy.
Yeah, I also love Giles Corey. Dom at first sent me Death Consciousness. I did not listen to it fully. A few months later, I listened to Giles Corey. It's written by one of the members of Have a Nice Life. And since we've listened to both, I'm the one who prefers Death Consciousness. Dom's the one who prefers Giles Corey. But I think they're both 10 out of 10s. It's just a personal preference for me. Giles Corey, Dom hit all the points I wanted to make. It's a very bleak album. Dan Barrett says he wrote it at the worst depressive episode of his life. So it's very much an album fueled by suicidal ideation. If you buy this album on vinyl, it comes with a little companion book that tells a half fictional, half biographic story of this guy who invents a device where you can see the afterlife, and it turns out that the afterlife really, really sucks. So that kind of presents the whole vibe of the album, I would say. So without further ado, this intro is much shorter than the last one. Without further ado, I'm going to count down from three to go, and when I say go, everyone is welcome to start their albums. So, Giles Corey by Giles Corey. Three, two, one, go.
I think I've heard the song before.
Yeah, it's very familiar. As you said last time, though, I do think that this is like the perfect tone setter for the album. Um, it's gentle, and then later on, you get that the the only word I can use to describe it is just agony, and
Yeah,
it's a very specific word, but
yeah,
it really is how it goes.
yeah.
I'm actually going to do a quick Google and see if this album was also recorded the same way Death Consciousness was.
Yeah, because I made a comment last time about how I really think that they recorded this on a pinhole mic for a computer, um, which would make sense as to why the audio kind of sucks. But
Yeah,
it's very much a stylistic choice.
it is. And that is how Death Consciousness was written. However, we're not quite. I'm looking up now to see.
Yeah.
So it might be that some parts were recorded that way, but not the whole album. From what I can see on Wikipedia, he had those constraints initially, but as the project expanded, he kind of dropped them.
I think this like 3 minute section of the song is probably my favorite 3 minutes of like any music.
That's not a bad choice.
Like the way he does the drone here like makes it sound like howling wind,
Oh,
which is just like
absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely. I love the chimes.
And like this thunderous drums.
Of course. And then I'll wait for it to. For me, I always love when an album goes from quiet to very explosive. So like this transition from the last movement to this is just golden for me, especially with the very blown out, distorted vocals.
The way he layers the voices.
Oh, of yeah, absolutely. The production on this album is also masterful. And like you can definitely hear some influences from his work with Have a Nice Life, but it's still very distinct. And here comes the whales. I love the whales.
He does be screaming.
He does. Now, if I remember correctly, the second track on this album is actually my favorite. Yeah. There's a we'll get to it soon, but there's a transition in the second track of this song which you may be accustomed to when I really love something giving it an oddly specific and detailed description. And so I would describe the transition in Blackest Bile as it sounds like you're like 8 Bud Lights deep driving your semi truck at 3 a.m. and you're gonna drive it off a bridge because the wife took everything in the divorce. And that's just a feeling
See
you
Bud
can't.
Lights though.
Specifically Bud Lights, you don't have the money for anything better because the wife took everything in the divorce. But that, yeah, you just don't get that very specific feeling anywhere else.
Yeah. That was the haunting presence.
Yes, on to Blackest Bile.
He do be at the end part of the song he's like screaming and has that like slamming on the piano. It's great.
Oh yeah, very very frustrated. The humming, the humming.
And this song also starts really like soft, but like
Yeah,
gets
the
really loud.
it does, but it at no point does it get aggressive.
Yeah. I'm like a big drums guy. Like so like when like later in the song it gets like
Yeah, after the
really
transition,
after transition he gets really into the drums. It's great.
the drums. Yeah, I don't know if blown out is the right term, but like he drenches
It
it.
sounds like the mic is like right next to the drum set.
Yeah, and it's really drenched in a lot of reverb.
Hmm.
In my limited guitar experience, I learned how to play most of this song.
Cool.
Yeah. Now imagine the sound of your Bud Light bottle clinking in the back seats. It's raining. You're somewhere in West Virginia, probably hauling timber, if I had to guess. And then the unsigned restraining order on your dash. The percussion and the very distant vocals. I love the reversed guitar at the end there. It's such a nice touch.
Cool. It's a grave filled with books.
Yes. Which is... It's not a bad song. It's, in my opinion, the worst song on the album. It's just a very calm... It doesn't have, I guess, the memorability of other tracks on the album.
Yeah.
Maybe Empty Churches, but I feel like Empty Churches is just still... stands out a little more than Grave Filled with Books.
Just a comment. There is a Giles Corey merch on the Spotify shop,
Oh,
and one of them is a "Have a Nice Life, Death of Marat, Death Consciousness" tank top.
yeah, I mean... Which, a little off topic, but, like, absolutely great album cover choice for Death Consciousness.
Hinter Kaifek on this album list.
Mm-hmm.
But Hinter Kaifek's another project by Dan Barrett, solo, kind of similar to Giles Corey. I believe it's also
It's
it's under the
under,
Giles
yeah, it
Corey.
is, and it's an EP, but I don't, Hinter Kaifek, it's really hard to be as good as this album is. However, Guilt is My Boyfriend is such an amazing song. That,
It's
like,
really good.
that would be
It's
my
also like
one-off for this album, would be
it's
Guilt is
also
My
like
Boyfriend.
13 minutes.
Yeah, Hinter Kaifek's very, very short. And about half of it's Guilt is My Boyfriend. Which, in my opinion, maybe the best use of, like, making the guitar strings shriek that I've heard. Because the lyrics to Guilt is My Boyfriend are so oppressively sad.
So, um, on Spotify, Grave Filled with Books is number 4 on this album,
As in, like,
supposedly.
number 4 most listened, or the fourth
Yeah,
track?
fourth listened.
Interesting.
Number 1 is No One Is Ever Gonna Want Me.
That's fair. I think that Haunting Presence and Blackest Bile not being 1 and 2 is kind of criminal, but no one is ever going to want me. I think's fair, and I'm going to do it. When we get to I'm going to do it, like, holy shit, that's a song.
I find it crazy this guy performs these songs live.
Yeah, which, I mean, like, is it definitely an indicator that he's doing better? And, like, there are, like, artists and songs who, like, I know they just will not perform live. Off the top of my head, the example, H.
Neutral Milk Hotel.
Oh yeah, Neutral Milk Hotel. But I guess like in the vein of like they won't perform it live because it's too personal or too difficult. So there's a song by Tool called H, and H is a very good song, but he can't perform it live because the song is about him resisting the urge to beat his kid because he was beaten as a kid. Which is like, you shouldn't do that, but
So this is Empty Churches.
this
So
is
it kind
Empty
of begins with
Churches.
this it kind of begins with this like track of this like recording, but then really gets into this like really cool
I call it a
I don't know,
sci-fi
kind of
beat.
sci-fi beat. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but I like it a lot.
I will say this use of oh, what's the word? Like, I don't know, outside audio. There's a track off of Have a Nice Life's second album called Cropsy, which is my favorite Have a Nice Life song, that uses this to great effect.
And like the two audio sources, which is this dude talking, and then like Dan Barrett's voice, kind of like fluctuate in and out between who's closer. It's great.
Yes, and if you listen closely to Dan Barrett, he is very softly just reciting the lyrics to Haunting Presence. Listen closely, Dom. Well, it might have passed, but yeah.
Bloody and battered, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, it's just a little coda in there.
The part where it like goes from like the radio guy talking to like
The
the transition there's like I love
Oh,
that.
it is. It's a very soft transition, but it's very impactful. One thing I love about this album is just how, like a lot of albums I really like, they either do a really good job with minimalist production or maximalist production, and this is an album that can do both very well.
Yeah.
There's a future coda.
What?
The distorted voices right now, I think, are from. Oh wait, no, I'm stupid. It's just going before he starts singing. I was like, I thought that's from a later song in the album. I just noticed that. No, I just forgot
No,
that part.
it's from this song.
Yeah. It was technically a future coda, just like 30 seconds from then.
Yeah, the 30 seconds of the future.
Let's see, and up next, yeah. Up next is I'm Going to Do It, which I feel respectfully probably should issue a trigger warning.
I'm going to do it, and by it, well, I
Let,
mean
let's
killing
just
myself.
yeah, let's just say not my peanuts.
Sorry.
Let's see. Yeah, while this album did not make my like 4 albums that make me cry list, it made a separate list of like the 3 kinds of sadness where there's like grief, sorrow, and depression. This is the depression album where it's nothing is specifically like getting you down or upsetting you, but it's just such an overwhelming feeling of hopelessness.
Yeah.
The
I'm
grief.
still
Oh, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, Ben.
I was gonna say grief goes to A Crow Looked at Me by Mount Erie, which I think you can attest is a very fair.
I'm I'm waiting for A Crow Looked at Me to impact my mind like a asteroid.
And then I'm trying to remember what my sadness album was. I'm pretty sure I included it. Let's take a look here.
We got I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it. Yeah.
He does just say it.
He does just say it. We now know what the it is.
I love this guitar.
Oh yeah.
Love that. All coming together there.
Oh yeah. I can't find it. I can't remember the album. It's my sad album because it's been a while. I know it's one of the ones I haven't listened to in a long time, but oh, that's gonna bother me. But oh well.
This is like the Cleveland Browns album.
This is a Cleveland Browns album. Well, then maybe it's a Carolina Panthers album now.
You can't go local yet.
I can do whatever I want. I'm an adult.
Well, you can certainly do better than the Browns. So
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
Let's see. I'm not certain, but oh man, no, that's not it. Oh well, it's gonna bother me, and I'm gonna find it out like later tonight. But
Yeah. Spectral Bride.
another absolute rizzler of a song. Allie actually really likes this one. I know it's supposed to be Angels, but every time I hear it, it's Friedrich Engels.
But he forgot about me. I wrote the book too. No. This is very folksy.
Hmm? What was that?
Very folksy.
Very folksy. Now, a lot of these songs have like a part A and a part B,
Yeah.
which that might have been a silly thing to say because I think most songs do, but it it's just done so well on this album. It makes each of the songs, I guess, feel more full.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, very relatable.
So I was saying earlier in the thing. So the reason why um it gets kind of happy for a minute, huh?
It does. It perks up, which I think is a very good call. And then once the lyrics pick back up, you understand it's not. You shouldn't necessarily be happy that the song's perked up.
So the reason why Dan Barrett chose the name Giles Corey. It's a bit of background on him, right? So everybody read The Crucible in freaking high school, whatever the hell.
I did
But
not.
so basically during the Salem witch trials, Giles Corey was accused of being a witch. And back in those days, under English common law, um, you had to enter a guilty or not guilty plea. But if he was found guilty during the witch trials, which were all rigged anyway, his estate would have been seized by the government in the state instead of passed to his kids. Um, and then if he'd pled not guilty and then still be found guilty, the same would have happened, and they would have killed him, right? So Giles Corey knew this, so he didn't enter a plea, which means that which meant that he had to be pressed until he would enter a plea. And pressing means they'd put a big board on you, and then they'd put rocks on the board until either you pled guilty or not guilty, or you died. And Dan Barrett liked the fact that like Giles Corey like made the state kill him because it was all like bogus.
Now, to some extent, do you think that real quick, there's the drop because it always has to happen. Do you think that the state in the Giles Corey story could be allegorical for Dan Barrett of his depression of I'm not surrendering, I'm going to force you to kill me?
Yeah, definitely.
That's me just spitballing. I don't know anything about it,
No,
but
I can feel that. It's all what's the word for it? Up to
yeah, up to interpretation. Yeah.
it's all up to interpretation.
So yeah, the song gets happy because he's kind of like making up his mind,
Yeah.
which is not ideal. But
No, it's not.
and then I'd say this is probably the emotional climax of the album. Because I feel like Buried Above Ground, the final song, is more like the epilogue to it.
This is No One Is Ever Going to Want Me.
Yes.
Um, what's kind of interesting is Dan Barrett is just a real estate agent in his real life.
You know, it tells you a lot about the real estate industry.
I guess so in Connecticut.
Yeah. Imagine how many Peter Griffins he has to deal with on a daily basis.
God bless it, man. Remember the time?
Hey Dan, remember the time you? Ah man, I should have finished that joke before I opened my mouth, and it would have been really funny. I should have said this at the start of the album. Very much recommend reading lyrics while you listen. It's a little late for that now, but still feel free to.
Can you put that in post?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll put it in the video description, and when I put it in Discord, I'll be like, yeah. Make an annotation on YouTube.
No one is going to want me to be their realtor.
Nobody's going to want me. 1940s two-story house with lead paint, crumbling plumbing.
Asbestos.
There is a moment, I think it's coming up soon, he starts saying steps, and just that being in the background, very, very haunting.
Would you say its presence is haunting?
Yes, I would. Especially because I don't think we even hear any of the other steps. We just hear the final step, and it's very ominous.
This is a time capsule episode because the frickin' presidential debates tonight.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
I'm watching.
I'll probably watch it because if I had to guess, Allie's going to probably fall asleep as soon as she gets home. She has tomorrow off, which is very nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. But, we'll see if we, depending on the performance, we'll get to see if American democracy survives another cycle, huh?
Yeah. Hooray. Wow, that reminds me, I have a Kamala Harris meme I need to post.
Are you a Kamala Harris meme?
Mm-hmm. Here it is, steps. All right, Dom, you can check current events. We fall through the floor. And that's just the part I wanted to highlight.
Wait, well, hold up. The laughing lotus is speaking. The fuck?
I don't know. The meme just spoke to me.
Honestly, it's pretty good. You see that one of her looking at a piece of cake?
Yeah.
It's not one of those. I really feel that as like an American. I feel like that kindred spirit.
Yeah, Tim Walz going to a donut shop just to like own JD Vance. I love that. Oh, I forgot there's even a little yell in this song too. That's coming up.
A what?
A little bit of a yell in this song.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it's one more cycle of this. Yeah.
Like that. That's good.
Yeah. And then we got Sleeping Heart. Very, very simple. I think probably the simplest song on the album, but I do think it's still a really impactful song for how bare bones it is compared to other tracks.
And the guitar.
Mm-hmm. I think it's notable that I feel like at least this song has the most easily legible lyrics.
Yeah.
right, and our final track, Buried Above Ground, which I think is the only happy-ish track on the album. With that very nice coda, it's a bit more plucky this time.
Oh, that's the hunting presence on guitar.
Yeah. You know, Dan Barrett in an interview said, like, he doesn't like the term concept album, and my response is, then you shouldn't have made one.
Except right, he did. He did make a concept album.
Yeah.
Maybe don't put so much fucking symbolism in it if you don't want it to be.
Yeah. Maybe, you know, like, make it less tonally and thematically cohesive then. I'm sorry, you can't tell an allegory of your worst depression without it being at least in part conceptual.
Hmm.
Biscuits rubbing my leg.
What?
My cat's rubbing on my leg.
Can you show cat? Thank you.
Biscuit.
Cat.
Biscuit. She's eating my cords. Don't
Eat
do
chords.
that. Don't do that.
This thing got this like horn now, which is really
Yeah,
interesting.
it's a very triumphant return of the motif, which is why I say it's like the only happy track. I raised you better than to be a cable eater. I raised you better than this. Okay. All right, that was Giles Corey by Giles Corey. Dom, do
Or
you
Denver.
have any closing remarks?
It's great. Um, I really do love that album a lot. It benefits from being listened to all at once. Uh,
For sure.
when I make my drives back and forth to Dayton every week, usually this finds its way in there every like couple weeks. Um, but I really do hope you enjoy and hope you did enjoy Giles Corey because it's my favorite album.
I think it's a very respectable pick for favorite album. I don't know that I could listen to it every other week or like every 2 or 3 weeks, but it's very nice to go back to. It absolutely benefits from being listened to in its entirety. And if I had anything left to say, it would be more weight. All right. See ya.
Yeah.